A good story trumps the facts every time. Pun intended. My name is Werner Puchert and I'm a creative entrepreneur. And I want to talk to you in today's video about storytelling. In fact, this is part one of hopefully 2 videos that I'll be doing. In this specific video, I want to talk to you about what I believe is the value of storytelling in business. And then, as always, there's always something. I want to introduce you to a tool that I use to help my team and some of my clients flex their storytelling muscles, because the more you exercise and practice storytelling, the better you get. Well, that is my belief. And then right at the end of the video, if you stick around and if you so wish, I will issue a small challenge, and one lucky viewer might win something special. Cool, so why did I start my video the way I did? I think the biggest challenge we're facing at the moment is that politicians are leveraging emotion to tell very compelling stories. And then in some cases, we are trying to contradict those stories by using logic alone. Now, the challenge that we face at the moment as peddlers of the truth and logic and science is that we really suck at telling stories. Now, storytelling is also relevant when it comes to business. So, for example, when I was working in marketing and branding, I would argue, and you might disagree, that your brand, your company's brand, your personal brand, is one of the biggest stories that you're telling people. Then, in the world of user experience design, when we start building products for digital solutions, for banking services, that entails storytelling itself. Because one of the biggest challenges a user experience designer has is users. We need to design for other people. So we need to look at the world through the eyes of other people. And you can only do that by telling compelling and truthful stories. And then finally, when I was in the world of management consulting, one of the partners I worked with, showed me that even in the world of sales, a good story can be very effective. And I'm not saying a good lie, I'm saying a good story. Because you see, a good story allows the customer, the person that you want to work with in the future, to feel confident in your capabilities. And you do that by telling them stories that resonates with their immediate needs. Not stories about yourself, but stories about their challenges. Now, how do you tell good stories? Now, I'm going to dive deeper into a storytelling framework in the second video, in the follow-up video, because this goes much deeper. For now, let's just practice telling stories. I want to introduce to you a tool called Rory's Story Cubes. So I like to introduce exercises into my workshops that help people start to tell better stories. Now, inside the box, and there's a few of these sets. This is the standard one. So this is the basic set that you could buy. And then inside, you will find 9 dice. Nice, solid, bold, nicely engraved, good quality stuff. And then on each of the dice, on each of the sides, there is some kind of icon depicting something. So for example, here's a building, there's a cell phone, there's a bee, someone sleeping, a teepee tent. Now, just to give you an example of some of the others that you get. Now, this is the basic set, the basic dice, sorry. And then you also have the one that I like the most is Rory Story Cubes, actions. So in here, you'll see that the icons relays is more towards actions. So these little men on here are doing stuff. I think this guy is cracking a safe. You've got a guy doing some exercise or doing some pull-ups, listening to music. You get the idea? Cool. And then you also can buy a whole subset of different kinds of power-ups. For example, I bought rescue because there's kind of more functional symbols there that I can use in the design process. And then superpowers that I found quite interesting. Now you might say to me, now Werner, where the hell or how the hell do I use this? I'll give you a quick example, and hopefully I'm not going to destroy the whole storytelling situation here. Now I'm going to grab the action dice. You mix these bad boys up You can do this along with your team or even with your kid, with your team. Throw them. How do you start with a story? You start at the beginning. So there was one day, there was a guy who was really in a pinch, emotionally fatigued because he's living through a tough time and he has to count every penny. In fact, a lot of the opportunities that he used to have is now out of reach. No matter how hard he works, the stress is still there. And he felt like he was going to snap at any stage. Now, I'm not going to go any further because this story is becoming really depressing, but I think you get an idea of how you can build up a story just in a linear form by challenging yourself just to build them through. And I just like to sometimes sit with these and play storytelling. Now, the second thing that you can do is introduce your hero. You might remember this hero. This is Bob from one of my previous videos. And if this is the hero, you'll take the dice, mix them up again, select 3 random dice, and then the random dice then here, the 3 that you've selected or separated, will then describe the character of the hero. You have a character in your story, and you need to understand the attributes of that character, of that hero. Now, you could argue that Bob really values friendship, and he's quite a bit of a clumsy guy in real life, and he's easily threatened, and he's quite nervous about what's going on in the world at the moment. Now, I just shot from the hip, but you can see how these stories can help prompt cool ideas. Now, the rest of the cubes and this hero's option of telling a story, you will then just go further and then unpack a story for Bob. Now, he's scared, he needs support, he's alone, and he realizes that he needs to make a change in his life. He needs to flex his muscles and take a challenge and start stepping out of his comfort zone. But how can he do that? So, once again, my storytelling capabilities are on full display here. And then one of the other exercises that you can do, because you can do this in a group format as a warm-up exercise in the design process. And something else I like to do also is grab a few of these cubes, especially at the beginning of the day or before ideation, mix them up, and then assign each of my team members one of the cubes. Then each person gets a chance to tell a story about what is on their specific cube. But then the challenge is, as it goes over to the next person needs to use the prompt on his cube and then build on top of the story of the previous person. And there's many of these different little ways that you can exercise and flex your storytelling muscles. Now, as I get to the end of this one, and as I mentioned in the next video, I'll deep dive, and I have another tool, the hero's journey a little bit more, which is more relevant to customer experience, and give you a bit more of a practical insight about how storytelling can be used inside design. But now, if you're keen to tell a little bit of a story yourself, I have, from one of my previous reviews, I have a nice, fresh, sealed Sneakerfish Classic card deck that I'm going to give away to one lucky viewer. And the only thing you have to do is tell me a small, compelling story. And I'm going to give you 3 prompts. So I'm going to mix this up. And here's Bob. I need you to tell me a little bit about Bob. So this looks like a little bit of fire, match, someone walking through the doorway, and this is a little man holding a gift. So if you can describe a little bit about the characteristics of Bob, I might be sending you one of these as soon as I can get to a post office again. So how do you enter? Just pop it into the comments, send it to me in a direct message or via email, and I will make a lucky draw by the end of the month and send someone a nice classic card deck. And then once again, thanks to the ladies from Traction Strategy for giving us this to give away to one of you guys. Thanks for watching. and catch you in the comments.